I know there's still some people in the city that don't have water or still on a boil water notice. So I'm thankful that I'm somewhat back to normal. All right, y'all, let's get into our yoga tonight. So this is end of February. We've been keeping our Wednesday evenings on the gentle restorative side. So I think I want to continue with that. We've all had a lot going on in our lives the last week on top of everything else. So giving our minds and body an opportunity to just restore, plug ourselves in, build up our energy reserve, so important. So I'm gonna continue with that this evening. So I'm gonna head over to my mat and we'll get started. I am gonna have us start in our supported chest opening pose. I'll give us some options for that. So let me do that. And meanwhile, I will put you on mute for now, but as usual, unmute yourself. If you got any questions for me at any time, please ask. So I'll waddle over here. We'll wanna have our props nearby. So anything that we've been using in our practice. For our opening posture, I would recommend a blanket or towel and a pillow or bolster. Now, if you have your chair nearby and you want to place a chair or you're close to a piece of furniture and you want to toss your lower legs and feet up onto the seat of a chair and elevate them a little bit more, please do so. To give that chest opening for the shoulders, we'll take our blanket or our towel into that long rectangular fold. There's other variations of this pose, so if you have a different variation that feels good for you, please take it. I'm going to choose my blanket tonight, so this is going to elevate my spine a little bit more so I can counter my seated dusk pose I take all day long. So I've taken my throw blanket and gotten it into almost a square shape or a longer rectangular shape. And I'm going to take a trifold. So I'm going to take one leg edge in about a third and then bring the other long edge over about a third. So I end up with this nice long rectangular shape, which I'm going to take towards the top of my mat, and it will support the length of my spine between my shoulder blades and the back of my head. So that's going to give me just a little bit of a lift. When we lay down on our prop tonight, feel free to cactus those arms out from the shoulders, allowing the backs of the arms or hands to fall towards the ground. So some of us will feel a pretty intense stretch here. After we hold this pose for several deep breaths, these muscles will start to open. Maybe the backs of the hands will actually touch the ground. And then again, as far as the legs are concerned, you can place them over a pillow, over a little lift, a piece of furniture. When we take our folded blanket or towel, you have a little bit of space between it and your low back. You'll want to lengthen out that upper buttock down and start releasing the back down. Now, for some of us, knees bent up and feet planted is a little bit better for those backs. You can always do that as well. I'm going to stretch my legs out over my pillow. Feet are nice and wide and just let my feet kind of hang open. Loosen up the clothing, start getting comfortable here. Arm bones may just roll open beside the torso, but we will want that extra stretch. Let's drop the elbows out from the shoulders. Let the backs of the hands flop to the ground. So this pose does give us a little bit of opening here to stretch the rib cage. So it can also help improve our breathing. It can help improve our posture by countering that hunchback and rounding of the shoulders we tend to do throughout our day. If the legs are elevated a little higher, you're helping to undo some of the effects of gravity in the lower half of our body, or just giving them enough of support so that they can also relax towards the ground. So once we're in position, let's close the eyes, start to relax. Start to relax the whole body from the crown of the head all the way down to our fingertips and toes. Poof the cheeks up with air tonight. Wiggle out the mouth, tongue, and jaw. Feel the weight of the shoulders, elbows, and hands flop into the floor. Feel this lift under the spine, slightly elevated chest. Try to relax the belly completely. We might notice a rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Softening those larger muscles around our hips, the glutes and the thighs. And relaxing all the way down through the knees into our ankles, feet, and toes. We often don't realize how much tension we hold in the physical body throughout our day. So our evening yoga practice is a really nice way to decompress, to prepare ourselves for our evening, helping improve our quality of sleep. As we're taking some inventory, as usual, we'll also check in with any areas that maybe we're healing tonight, that need a little extra TLC. And we'll let those areas relax, remembering that we each have permission to adjust and modify our practice accordingly. So continue to let the whole body relax as we spread our awareness now to the rhythm of our breath. Simply begin by observing and watching the body breathe. Noticing the subtle movement of the body with the breath. Maybe we notice a little bit more movement in and around the chest in this elevated position. Maybe notice the flow of air in and around the nostrils from the right side to the left side. And then we're going to begin to start to smooth and even this breath out and take it a little bit more deeply into the body, practicing a few rounds of our yogic breathing or belly breathing. So on that next inhalation, our focus moves towards the belly button. And on our inhale, we try to let the abdomen expand and rise as much as possible. And then on the exhale, we simply let the belly drop back down into the body. We can also add that gentle contraction at the bottom of the exhale, pulling the navel towards the spine. So starting just with the belly, in and out through the nose. Let's start to mentally count our breath this evening. Next time we get to an inhalation, mentally count the number that you're breathing in to expand the abdomen. When we get to the exhale, try to breathe out the same number. And now we'll try to breathe this breath a little bit more through the body and go into our 3-part breath, or our wave-like breath. We'll still start with the belly. So on that next inhale, breathe in, let the abdomen expand. But continue to fill the torso up into the chest. You'll feel the rib cage expand. Filling ourselves all the way up to the brim and the throat. On the exhale, we reverse the breath back out from top to bottom. So soften the throat, soften the chest, Let the belly drop, gently pulling the navel towards the spine. Inhale, breathing starts at the bottom, the abdomen expands. Continue to fill the body up into the rib cage, the chest will lift even more. Breathing in as much as we can up into the throat. Exhale, emptying from top to bottom. We relax the throat. We notice the chest soften, and then belly draws into body. Now try to keep the length of the inhale and exhale equal, but at this point you might start adding 1 or 2 counts to both the inhale and the exhale as our breath grows more deeply and more expansive. Let's all try one more full cycle of breathing. This cycle of breath, we're going to try to make it our biggest breath of our day yet. So the next time we come around to an inhalation, we're simply going to breathe in as much air as we possibly can. Don't worry about the number that you're inhaling. Just keep inhaling, inhaling, filling the whole body up to the brim. When we can no longer take in any more air, start to slowly and gently release the breath. Same thing on this exhale. Don't worry about how long it takes. Just exhale all the air out. Empty, 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 every last drop. When we can no longer exhale any more air, gently release, following and controlling the breath for a moment. It will wander away wherever it wants to. We'll start to come back to our physical body, relaxed on the floor, on top of our props, and gently start to wake the body up. So we'll give those toes a wiggle, wake up the fingertips, a gentle rock of the head side to side. We can roll the ankles, the wrists. Now, depending on our lift, we'll try to continue to stretch our arms overhead down to our long body stretch. If you are a little higher up, just be mindful how that feels for your shoulders. Let's try to straighten our legs out. If you had taken your feet and lower legs up onto a piece of furniture, the seat of a chair, simply stretch them up one at a time towards the ceiling or press them into the edge or lip of that piece of furniture. And we're just going to try and lengthen and stretch as much as we can, side to side, front to back. Let's take another big breath in. On our next exhale, we'll float our arms down beside us, walk our feet in, and draw our knees in as closely as we can towards the chest. Again, if we're more elevated, you might not be pulling those knees in too closely towards the chest, but try to float the feet up from the floor, give the body a little rock side to side. And then we'll bring our right arm beside the head and try to carefully roll off our props to one side. Just make it work for you tonight. Pause for a moment. And then from here, I am going to have us press down into the ground and bring our body all the way up and come right into a seated position. So take your time. There's no hurry. But once we work our way back up to a seat, we'll rearrange our space. We will want to be sat up on something to elevate our sit bones, ideally a firmer prop. If you have a couple yoga blocks, you can bring them together and sit up on them. That's a nice firm lift. If you have your folded blanket you want to rearrange behind you, a cushion, whatever works. Let's take a moment to get there. I'm going to add a little bit more lift tonight. If you are a little bit higher up, we might want to take support underneath our knees as well. So find those sit bones, move any flesh out of the way. Legs can be in any position that's comfortable, so easy cross, heel to heel alignment. Most importantly, we just want to be able to sit up nice and tall through the spine, without rounding or collapsing the back. If you draw that low belly in slightly, we'll float our fingertips out beside us and float our head on top of our shoulders. Turning those palms up to the ceiling, we'll take our one centering breath. Big breath into the nose, float those fingertips up to the ceiling. Turn those palms out, exhale, float them all the way back down to the ground. Going right into our spinal movements this evening, lateral extension. Inhale the right arm up. Keep that right sit bone glued to the ground. You're moving in a lateral plane as if you were sliding along an invisible wall. Big body stretch. Inhale, use your muscles to pull you up through center. So our core is going to protect the back. Switch arms, exhale, stretch it over to the right. One more time each side. Feel free to rotate the neck, so you might look down, forward, or upwards. We'll take it one more time over to the right. Nice big lateral movement. And then we'll inhale, meeting up at center with both arms extended up. Bring the palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Seated cross-legged, if it's an option, switch up opposite foot in front. We tend to always sit the same way. Ground those sit bones. Flowing seated twist. Inhale, arms up. Keep the length. Exhale, twist to the right. Let the fingertips float down, maybe to the opposite knee. Continue that rotation up the back, through the neck. Eyes wide open. Keep to the farthest point that we can see. The inhale pulls us all the way back up to center. Big exhale, rotating and twisting to our left. Mid back, upper back, through the neck. Open the eyes wide, peek behind the body. Inhale, reach it up. One more time to each side. Remember, we want to keep the shoulders and the chin level to the floor. Good. Follow that breath. We'll take it one more time to our left side. That next inhale pulls us back up to center. Again, the palms will touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. So a little bit more for neck and shoulders and upper back. Into we ball 10 fingers. Flip the palms forward. Inhale, breathing. Float the arms up. Trying to pull those upper arm bones beside the ears, pressing up to the heels of the hands. Now on the exhale, pull the belly in even more. Round the back over an invisible beach ball. You can drop the chin to the chest and drop the arms down towards the lap. The inhale, tip the pelvis forward. Stretch, lengthen up the spine. Pull those upper arm bones back by the ears. A lot of extension here. Exhale, round over that invisible ball. Stretching out the upper back, trying to get rid of tension back there. One more time with our breath. You can even gaze slightly upwards on the inhale. And then on that exhale, drop the gaze down towards that belly button. And we'll catch up one more time, floating the arms up overhead. Open those hands up, reach to the ceiling. Turn your palms out and exhale, sweep the arms all the way back down beside the body. And then just swim the shoulders a couple times. You can do both at the same time, one at a time. Whichever way you naturally started to swim your shoulders, reverse, using the brain a little bit. One at a time or both together, doesn't really matter, just kind of loosen them up. And then sit up tall, inhale, let's give them a nice squeeze up by the ears, purposeful tension in those muscles. We're gonna open the mouth, let out a nice big sigh and shrug our shoulders with, let's let them drop. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Inhale, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Still sit up tall. Big exhale through the mouth. Let it go. One more. Inhale. Big exhale. I feel better already. Okay, I needed that. Right, we're gonna switch now. So we're gonna take our transition to tabletop. You can get there however works. Walk over those legs, give them a quick stretch and a wiggle, and then we'll flip ourselves around to tabletop and give our legs a little bit of a stretch. You can always feel free to take extra cushion underneath your knees and shins with a blanket or a little fold of the mat about halfway. Nice strong foundation in those hands. The hands are wide, even a little wider than the shoulders is fine. We're pressing into the ground, not just locking out our joints here. Drop those knees right underneath the hips, a little bit of space between the feet. Let's have our toes tucked under here. Continue to draw in slightly through that lower belly so that we can support our back and give the right leg a stretch behind us. Foots to the floor. We'll shift our weight back to that heel. We'll feel like we're trying to lift the thigh bone up so we can really get a stretch to the back of that knee. Equal weight in the hands. Be mindful of where the head is in space. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, knee comes down. Other side. Left leg stretches out. Big stretch. Press the heel back. Lift that thigh bone up. Keep that low back level to the ground. Equal weight in the hands. Really try to ground down through the mount of that index finger and thumb to take pressure out of the wrists. Breathe it in. And exhale, bring that knee down. One more time, let's give that right leg a nice big stretch back behind us. This time, strengthen a little bit the right glute and hamstring to hover our right leg parallel to the floor. A little bit of balance and strengthening. Left arm reaches forward, spinal integration. We're just going to hold for a couple of breaths here tonight. Try to face the left palm in, the thumb up. Pull into that low belly to help stabilize. Take one more inhale. Exhale, hand and knee come down. There should not be a big shift in your hips or any shift at all. Left leg stretches back straight from the hip. Squeeze the back side, the left side to hover our left leg parallel to the floor. Right arm extends forward, palm in, thumb up. Continue to be mindful where the head is. Good, nice alignment. Feeling a little weeble wobbly, that's totally normal. We're working on our balance and strength. Keep breathing. One more inhale. And exhale, hand and knee come down. So tonight we'll do a little loosey-goosey movement more for our hips. So draw your hips back towards the heels. You can keep your toes tucked or pointed. It doesn't really matter. Then sweep those hips over to the left. We're going to start drawing a circle. You can sweep the hips then forward towards the hands. Circle them over to the right and back. So we're going to start clockwise. You may want to walk your hands slightly forward if you want to move more through a kneeling plank as you come forward. You can take it further back into almost a bow position. Feel free to roll through the shoulders a little bit more. That will also help loosen tension in that area. Just be mindful how that feels for the knees and the low back. And try to let the breath guide us. Okay, stir in the pot with those hips. Loosey-goosey as much as we want to get here. Let's take it one more time this direction. Next time those hips come back towards the heels, roll reverse. So we'll sweep the hips over to the right, roll them forward, to the left and back around. Whichever way you're going, just go the opposite direction now. Little dips and dives. And let's take it one more time this direction. Nice circle around. The next time those hips come back towards the heels, we're going to stay here, driving the hips towards the heels. Now, if your toes are tucked under, you're also going to get a nice stretch for the soles of the feet. We don't have to come all the way to a full child's pose, but if you want, point the toes, Sit the sit bones to the heels. Hands may continue to extend forward to stack underneath the forehead or even sweep back towards the feet with the head dropping down. So you can stay more in a bow position, stretching the shoulders and the back out, or in more of a passive position. We're going to hold it for a couple breaths and make sure you can sustain your breathing. Good, nice choices. Let's all take one more breath, wherever we're choosing to be. Next, inhale, those of us that have our hands back by our feet, let's re-extend our fingers to the front of our mat, floating our head and our bodies back up to tabletop. Let's walk those hands about 1 hand's distance forward. Tuck the tail under, bellies in. Inhale, we'll glide forward to our kneeling plank, nice and strong. Test the waters by lifting the knees. We should be able to go right into a full plank. Keep the head in line with the spine. On the exhale, we'll drop back down to our knees and drop all the way down to our belly. So we're bending the elbows back. We're trying to use the strength of our upper back, arms, and triceps. Come all the way down to the belly with the chin forward. Slide the hands under the shoulders. Now point the toes, flatten out the feet. Feet are wider than the hips to take care of low backs, or glue the insides of the feet and legs to touch. Bhujangasana. Inhale, squeeze the upper back, mid back, low back, and even the glutes a little bit. Extend the crown of the head forward and up. On the exhale, we're going to lower down tonight. You can kiss your mat, or you can tuck your chin to your chest and gently drop the forehead to the ground. So flowing cobra. Inhale, squeeze the back muscles. Pull the elbows in tightly. Try not to use the hands. Even float them from the floor if you want a little bit more. Exhale, lower down. Kiss the mat or tuck the chin, forehead to the mat. 2 more. Inhaling. Bhujangasana, hands can lift. Pull the muscles on the back. Exhale, lower. 1 more. And then exhale, lower down. Turn the head to one side. Either slide the hands down beside the body, palms up. Let the heels fall open in a prone shavasana. Or stack the hands underneath one side of the head or the forehead. So whatever is best for your neck. Basically, we're just letting the body take a quick break here. Notice any change in our breath, our heart rate. Remember which side your head is turned, because we will take another break here eventually, and we'll want to turn it the opposite direction. Chin forward, hands under the shoulders, nice strong feet, open them a little wider as needed. On the inhale, squeeze to the back, lift the heart, cobra pose. Slide those elbows straight forward into Sphinx Pose. So we're stacking the elbows right underneath the shoulders. Knife the pinky edge of the hands into the mat. Take the webbing between your thumbs and index fingers, turn them in, and you should be able to take a hold of your elbow creases, the inside of the elbows, and then you can bring the hands back. Now relax the buttocks and the feet again. So your heels are just kind of fallen open. You can even give your hips a little wiggle. Push the forearms into the ground. Energetically pull your elbows back towards you as if you were trying to drag your body forward, lengthening through the crown of the head, forward and up. So a little bit more of a back bend, more extension. We should do our back bending every day to counter the effects of gravity and all the forward flexion that we do in our back, all the hunching and the rounding that we do. Take a nice deep breath in. Little release for our neck. On the exhale, let's look over our right shoulder. See if you can see your foot back there, or a glimpse of something back there. Inhale back. Exhale, let's look over the left shoulder. See how far you can see. Inhale back. We'll do that one more time to each side. One more time to the left. The next inhale brings us back to center. Lift and lengthen as much as we can here on the inhale. On the exhale, bring your hands back underneath the shoulders. Slide them back down beside the hips, palms up. Turn the head the opposite direction. Let the heels flop open, or stack your hands under this side of the head. And just take a breath here. Breathe into the belly. Bringing our spine back to neutral before we move it again. And then chin forward, hands under those shoulders. Squeeze those elbows in. Tuck the toes in the tailbone. Pull the belly in and push up. Inhaling through our kneeling plank. Bring your knees back underneath the hips. We can start with some baby cat-cows here. Remembering that the inhale takes us into a gentle back bend. The exhale takes us into some rounding and forward flexion. If we feel like we need to sit back in a child's pose to give the back a little bigger of a stretch, please do so. And then we'll all bring our hands back forward. Spread the fingers wide. Tuck the toes under. Draw that low belly in. Press into the ground to lift those hips up, back, and transferring that energy and stretch down the backs of the legs through the heels out of Mudra Svanasana. So we'll hold for several breaths here. If at any time you need to take a break, you can just come back down into tabletop or child's pose, no problem. Bend your knees deeply if you need to take some pressure out of the low back. If we have nice tight hamstrings like I do today, we'll walk our dog, bending one knee and pressing the opposite heel towards the floor. Receiving that stretch all the way up to the Achilles, the calf muscles behind the knees. Make sure the neck is long and loose. Internally rotate through the forearms and the hands. Continue to ground through the mound of the index finger and thumb. Simultaneously roll those upper arm bones away from the ears. Draw the belly in, shifting the belly towards the thighs to the back of the mat. Have a look at those feet. Try to get them as symmetrical as possible. Our knees should still be pointing towards the centers of the feet. Let's try to take one more breath here. Find a little stillness in our pose. And then the next inhale, we'll gaze forward, baby stepping and walking our hands towards our feet and our feet towards our hands. Now, if you already know how you modify, please modify. If we don't want as deep of a stretch for our back, bend the knees, placing the weight of elbows or hands on top of the thighs. If you want to stay in a deeper inversion and more of a stretch, Uttanasana, full forward fold, with either the hands reaching towards the feet or holding opposite elbows. The feet and the legs should be nice and strong. We can start thinking about our lower locks, so Mula Bandha of the pelvic floor, lifting in and up. Uddiyana Bandha, those are those lower abdominals just below the navel center, pulling in and up. You try to let go of tension around the neck and shoulders as much as possible. Let's take one more breath. And then we'll all bend our knees, place our hands on our thighs with the fingers turned in. Tuck the chin to the chest, press the feet into the ground, and on our inhale, we're gonna roll it up. Inhale, 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 restacking the spine to come up. Take your time. Once the head is gazing forward, pull those shoulder blades up, give them that squeeze. Exhale, let them fall away from the ears. Let the arms softly float beside the torso. The lower half of the body should be grounded and strong. Pick up those toes, root them onto the big toe, inner heel, mount the pinky toe, outer heel. Unlock the knees so we're not just jamming and locking out the knees. Feel as if you're trying to lift your kneecaps up so the quads are nice and strong. Draw that front body to the back body, lengthening the upper buttock down. Turning the palms forward and spreading the fingers wide. Feel that rotation in the upper arm bones so that we can still cultivate this openness through the chest and the shoulders. No tension in the face, the head or neck, just floating. Tadasana, mountain pose. Almost as if we're standing up against an invisible wall. Inhale, breathing, turn those palms out, reach out and up to the ceiling. Let's add that heel lift. I do these almost every class. Stretch it up, bring the palms to touch. Exhale, lower the heels and the hands. We'll do that little bit of a funkier version so we get a little stretch again for the shoulders. So interweave all 10 fingers. Try to switch your grip if you haven't thought about it yet. So if you always grip your hands with the left pinky in front, weave them so that the right pinky is in front. Flip those palms. Now still stay connected to the core when we float those arms up overhead. Inhale, push your palms up to the ceiling. See how tall we can get. Heels are up. On the exhale, we try to slowly lower the heels down. Flare the elbows out. And the knuckles land at the crown of the head. Inhale, push the palms up to the heels of the hand. Heels up, tippy toes. Exhale, with as much control as possible, lower the heels and the hands. Let's do 2 more tonight. On our second one, we're going to hold it up here. So once we reach up, arms up, keep breathing, bellies in, open the hands up. And as much as you want to play with your balance, start sweeping the arms side to side. So stay connected to the core. We're getting a little lateral extension. Those feet are working hard. Good. We'll try to bring it back up to center. Inhale, reach. Bring the palms together. And exhale, lower down. I had to fight for that one. All right, let's take a quick break out of our pose and off our mat and grab a yoga block, a book. We did this last class. We're just going to do one more balance tonight. The heavier the object we use, the more challenging it will make it, because the weight of our item is going to be throwing off our center of gravity. Does it need to be heavy? Just the movement alone is going to be a challenge. But in the future, if you like this and it's really challenging your balance, then you can kind of progress to heavier items. Just don't drop them on your head or on your toes. So we're going to do Vrikshasana or tree pose. And you don't even have to do the movement. We got a lot of movement happening off of our mat in our lives. Maybe we need to cultivate some stillness. You're always welcome to do that. Taking our block or our object between our heart center, placing the palms on it. And then try to bring the insides of the feet and legs to touch. Same energy through the lower half of the body. So my feet are rooted, my knees are unlocked. I'm lifting up through my lower bandhas and locks to help contain these muscles and compact the hips. Shoulders fall from the ears, the face is relaxed. Hovering the right heel from the floor, open at the hip so the knee points out. The hip should remain level to the floor and the pelvis in its neutral position. Now remember, if on your next side you can only go to a certain distance with the foot, you should make this side equal to it. So whether you want to keep the foot down, float it to the inner ankle or calf, or above the knee, totally up to you. So from here, we'll continue to breathe and challenge our balance. If you want to challenge it even more tonight, let's start with an inhale and lift the block overhead first. Then bring the block in the right hand, and on the exhale, you're reaching out as far as you can. Whatever item you happen to be using, you go all the way around. When it comes down, you switch hands and inhale. Bring it back up. And the bigger the circle we make, the further we're moving away from our center of gravity. So again, a little bit more challenging. Working our brain here from side to side. Good, when our tree gets a little weeble wobbly and maybe falls, we just come back to it. We're gonna try one more circle, a little bit more of a challenge is to bring the prop behind us this time. Just be careful with the shoulders. Next time it comes overhead, on the exhale, we'll lower it back down to our center. Try to hold on to that core, point the knee forward, stretch that leg out, and as gracefully as possible, lower it down, pause, keep the gaze fixed on one spot, observe and breathe. Other side, compact the hips, strong legs, pull up through those lower bandhas and locks. Relax the face, no tension in the upper neck or shoulders. Hover the left heel, open the hip to point the knee out. Try to find symmetry now from this side to your first side. Keep the pelvis neutral, hips balanced. Choosing to stay here tonight or adding that added element of movement. Inhaling our prop overhead. This time bringing it into the left hand first. Exhale, big circle. Out, down. Switching hands to inhale, out, up, and around. Good. So going about 3 times around, you might be going a little slower, a little faster. But on our last circle here, a little bit more, if it's okay on those shoulders, we're gonna try to bring our prop behind us to switch. Little chest expansion there. Inhaling it up, good. Next exhale brings our prop back in front of the heart. We try to point that knee forward. Stretch that leg out, lower it down softly, and pause. Okay, so let's take the prop, set it down mindfully, and we're gonna come back to the top of our mat. So we'll meet back in mountain pose. Let's just find a little bit of stillness here for a moment after that movement. Feet parallel to each other, strong legs. Draw the belly in, anchor the tailbone down. Float the arms slightly beside the body. Turn those palms forward tonight, spread the fingers. A little bit of opening through the heart, a little bit of contraction between the shoulder blades. Make sure the head is relaxed on top of the shoulders. Take a breath. Coming back to the movement, turn the palms out. Inhale, one more big reach out and up. Last chance here to create a lot of length through the body. Gaze up to the thumbs for that gentle back bend. This exhale, micro bends the knees. Swan diving, arms back, down, and around to our forward fold. So you may revisit Uttanasana, folding the body in half, or modifying as needed. Take a couple breaths here. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands to shins or higher. Pull the shoulder blades together. Iron out the back. Good. This exhale bends the knees and plants the hands. We'll take a big step back and meet in downward facing dog tonight. So we're shifting the hips up towards the ceiling, towards the back of our mat. Melt the heart, drawing the belly towards our thigh bones, pressing the thigh bones back. It's okay if the heels don't touch or if we need to bend the knees to help release the back. Float the head between those upper arm bones. Take one more breath here. Next inhale, we'll lift the heels up. Stretch out those feet and toes. Exhale, lower down to the knees, point the toes. Sitting back into our version of Balasana or Child's Pose one more time. Hands may sweep to the feet. Take a hold of an opposite wrist across the low back to help the shoulders relax even more, dropping the head back down towards the ground. One more breath here. And then hands under shoulders, tuck the chin. Inhale, let's round it up one vertebra at a time. Once we sit up nice and tall, we'll shift our hips over to either side and bring our feet forward. So I want us to get into our Supta Padangusthasana tonight. So I do want us to have a yoga strap, a belt, a scarf of some sort, a prop that you can use and hold onto to stretch out our hips, our hamstrings, and move into a twist. So if you need to gather something up around your house, do so. A belt would work, a rolled up towel, some type of scarf. Have that handy beside the mat, and then we'll come down to our back. So you may choose to walk yourself down tonight. You may choose to do our slow roll down, having space behind the body, planting the soles of the feet, knees open wide, fingertips reach forward. We draw the belly in strongly, and we try to move all the way through the spine, articulating one vertebra at a time. The sacrum, the lumbar, through the thoracic, not the cervical, because our neck will be curved away from the mat, but the back of the head will touch down. We'll reach our arms overhead and straighten the legs out, right into our long body stretch. Exhale. Float the arms down beside the body. Walk those feet in. Pull the belly in to hug the knees in. Give that back a little stretch, a little compression for the belly. Now we'll drop the feet back down to the floor. We'll take a hold of our strap or whatever prop you're using as a strap tonight. Bend your right knee in and take that strap over the lower arch of the foot, more towards the heel. Then we'll straighten our right leg up as much as we can. Some of us will have to let the right leg fall away from us a little bit to get it straight, and that's okay. You may reach up to the strap and let your shoulders kind of dangle. Some people like to drop the elbows down beside the body, but keep the strap in each hand so the heart stays open. You may also loop it around the hands. Then press the heel up, ground the low back. Left heel slides forward to the front of the yoga mat and it anchors to the floor, as if you were standing on the sole of that left foot. Low back should be flat to the floor. Press the right thigh bone forward into the meaty part of the back of the thigh, giving the right leg an even bigger stretch. If it's an option, guide the right leg towards the right shoulder, as long as your left leg stays down and the left side stays grounded, and you're able to keep your spine in a neutral position. One more breath. Now we take the strap in the right hand. Your left hand rests on top of the left hip. Left side must stay grounded. Bend your right knee if your thigh is away from the body at a wider angle. We want to reduce the angle of thigh bone to torso. You can try to straighten the leg back out once we go into the pose. Inhale, let the right leg open to the right. You can use that right elbow as a kickstand so it's grounded. Keep tension on the belt, and then you may try to straighten the leg up from here. Externally rotating the thigh bone, so it's as if you're trying to turn the toes out of both feet. Charlie Chaplin, your feet, the left foot and the right foot. Shoulders should be grounded. Left arm may reach out from the shoulder, head may turn to the left. Big inner thigh growing muscle stretch. Take a couple breaths. Let the right hand do the majority of the work. Relax the face, the throat, the jaw's not doing the work. On the inhale, we'll bring the leg back up to center and the head. Hold on to the strap with the left hand. Keep the right upper buttock grounded, low back flat to the floor, and simply try to angle the straight leg across the midline, getting into this outer IT band. Feel free to massage or punch into those muscles as needed. Now we can take this into a twist, bringing the left elbow down, tension on the strap, allowing the right hip to come up. Keep the shoulders grounded, especially that right shoulder. Right arm reaches out, head turns to the right. Take a couple deep breaths. Our next inhale will bring the head and the leg back up to center. Open the strap up, slide the left foot in and up, pausing in waterfall pose, stretching both legs up, both hands holding one end of the strap. Make sure you're back in a nice neutral, symmetrical position, and then drop the right foot to the floor. We'll go through that whole series on our left side. So first, we're just working on straightening the left leg, stretching out the left hamstring in the back of the leg. Press that left heel up. Press the left thigh bone forward into the meaty part of the back of the left thigh. Slide the right heel forward actively, flexing that right foot. Ground the right leg to the ground. It's as if we were standing on our right foot on the floor. Some of us might be able to guide that left leg a little closer towards the body, as long as you can keep your right side down and spine in neutral. Couple more breaths. Now hold onto the strap with the left hand. Right hand is going to anchor the right hip to the floor. The whole right side must stay down. Bend the left knee to close that angle between the thigh bone and the torso as needed. Inhale, open the left leg to the left. Left elbow touches down, tension on the strap. We can try to straighten the left leg back out, big inner thigh groin muscle stretch. Charlie Chaplin, both feet, trying to turn the toes out. Keep your low back flat to the floor, shoulders grounded. Right arm can extend out from the shoulder, head may turn to the right. Deep breaths, relax the face and the jaw. Our next inhale will bring the head and the leg back up. Use the strap to help. Right hand holds on. Keep your left upper buttock grounded, low back flat. Try to just angle that straight leg across the midline, getting into this outer hip. Massage, lead into those muscles. And then we can take this side into our twist. Bend at the right elbow, drop it to the floor. Keep tension on the strap. Keep the left shoulder down. The left hip can roll up. Left arm out, head to the left. Even closing the eyes. Slow the breath down as we come to the end of our practice here. At least the asana portion of our practice. Next inhalation will bring the head and that leg back up to center. Open the strap, draw the right foot in and up. Pause for a couple breaths. Viparita Karani, waterfall pose, legs up the wall pose. Wonderful pose to do at the end of our day. An inversion here to decompress the lower half of the body. And then simply bend those knees, release the strap off to one side. Hug the knees in gently. Cross one ankle on top of the other. Re-extend the arms up to the ceiling, but flop your fingertips forward. Give them a little wiggle as needed. And they just hang out for a breath or two in dead bug pose. Switch the cross of the ankles. Hands and fingertips completely relaxed. Take another big breath. Uncross those feet. Reach the arms over the shins. Try to pull the nose towards the knees if we want a bigger stretch for the back. And we also reach for the big toes, the inner outsides of the feet, opening the feet and knees wide for a happy baby pose for a moment. Anything else you feel like you might need to move around? And then we're going to go right into our final relaxation for a few moments. So feel like you need another little movement or release somewhere, do it. And then we're going to start moving into final relaxation. So if you want to add the blankets and pillows under the spine, the head, the legs, or on top of the body, feel free to do so. So this evening, I'll do just a little bit of guided relaxation, give us a few moments of peace and quiet. You have the option to stay in your relaxation pose tonight, or when I ring the singing bowl, I'll bring us up from a relaxation pose to do just a couple minutes of our pranayama, mantra, and meditation practice this evening. So your choice. So let's get comfortable, settle in, loosen the clothing, adjust the surroundings in the body. Poof the cheeks. Stick out the tongue, whatever we need to do to get that mouth, tongue, and jaw to relax. Adjust the shoulder blades, the low back, the arms, and the legs. So we are training our nervous system, the systems of the body, to recognize this position and to immediately relax, to let go, to start slowing down, to restore and to renew. So the more we practice, the more that we're giving ourselves the ability for our body to move into a place where it can recharge its battery, where it can rebuild our health and our wellness, physically and mentally. Let go of any unnecessary tension in the body, relaxing all the little muscles across the face, the forehead, the brow, the eyebrow center. Relax the larger muscles of the limbs, letting the arms and the legs hang heavy. And then relax even larger muscles of the abdomen, around the hips and hip sockets, the glutes and the thighs. Relax the whole body. The breath becomes easy, quiet, and calm. If the mind wanders, we gently bring it back to this peaceful breath, giving ourselves permission to let go, to relax, and to simply be and breathe. Feel free to stay wherever you are, relaxing and breathing. If you'd like to make your way up to a seated position, just start to gently wake the body back up with the toes, the fingertips. Small, gentle movements to bring life back to the body. Hugging the knees in for a moment and taking a moment to pause on one side. Those of us coming up to a seated position, take your time. We'll make our way up to a seat. We might need to open our eyes softly, but just try to move gently with the body, keeping our attention turned more inward. We want to take a comfortable seat and a seat that we're able to sit up nice and tall in. So add additional support under the sit bones as needed. Once we're in our seated position, we'll go for a few rounds of our Nadi Shodhanam, or alternate nostril breathing. I'll verbally guide us through the first 2 rounds and then allow us to continue a few rounds at our own rhythm and pace. Sitting up tall, we'll take chin mudra in both hands, index finger and thumbs touching, the other 3 fingers extended, resting the hands on the knees. Then in your right hand, take Nasagra Mudra. At first making the peace symbol and then gluing the index and middle fingers together. The thumb, the ring, and the pinky fingers are the pinchers. We spiral the right hand towards the face, pressing the index and middle finger into our third eye center. Gently place the thumb on the outside of the right nostril, the ring and the pinky on the outside of the left nostril. To begin, we inhale through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. Then we close the right nostril with the thumb and inhale just through the left. Close the left, open the right, and exhale. Inhale back through the right. Close the right, open the left, and exhale. That's one round. Inhale left. Close left, open right, exhale. Inhale back through the right. Close right, open left, exhale. That's 2 rounds. Continue to breathe at your rhythm and pace. You may mentally count the breath and try to keep the inhales and exhales equal in length, whether that's to a count of 3, 4, 5. If one side is more challenging to breathe through, just do your best to breathe through it. If the right arm starts to become tired, take the left hand under the right elbow to prop it up, keeping the head up and the posture erect through the spine to the crown of the head. So we'll all finish the round that we're currently on. There's no hurry, take your time. We should be finishing with an exhale out the left nostril. Whenever you get to that final exhale out the left nostril, release both hands back down to the knees in Chin Mudra. Let the breath find its own natural rhythm. And continue to center the mind's eye at the third eye center, Agnya Chakra, that place we just created some acupressure on, our place of intuition and wisdom. Continue to be very mindful of the posture in the body. And now I'll start us off with our mantra we've been practicing, Lo Ka Samasta Sukhi no Bhavantu, which means may all beings everywhere be happy and free. You may join in verbally with this mantra. You may simply repeat it over and over again mentally. I'll eventually fade out the verbalization, and we will sit for a few moments in a seated meditation, either repeating that mantra, focusing our mind's eye on one spot, or simply observing the breath in the body. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. 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 Samasta sukhino bhavantu. Samasta sukhino bhavantu. If you happen to still be resting on your back in Shavasana, you can start to make your way up to a seat, taking your time to wake the body up, pausing on one side, and then finding a comfortable seat. Those of us already up in our upright seated position, observe the posture, readjust up to the crown of the head as needed. And then being mindful of our surroundings, we'll reach the arms out to the sides of the body with the palms facing up. Let's take another deep breath in through the nose together, this time floating both arms back up to the ceiling and gathering in everything we need for the rest of our evening. Turning those palms out, big exhale back out and floating the fingertips back down to the floor, letting go of all that other junk we don't need this evening. And then one more time, let's inhale those arms up We'll bring the palms to touch, exhaling the hands to our heart center, humbly bowing our head down to our heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and anyone else that made it possible for us to come together and practice our yoga together this evening. Feel free in joining me in the Om Shanti mantra if you like. A deep breath in to chant. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.